Hi, solo artists. My name is Jessica Lynn Johnson, and I am the founder and CEO of Soaring Solo Studios. And Soaring Solo is a company that is dedicated to the direction and development of one-person plays. So, welcome to a solo strategy session. Today, we're going to talk about what do you wear in a solo show. I know that sounds really basic, but I get asked that question all the time. So, what do I wear in my solo show? People always want to know that. And again, there isn't just one answer, so I'm going to go through a few different examples of styles of solo theater and the types of wardrobe that I think are best depending on what style of solo artist you are. So first we can begin with if you're more of a storyteller. So if you actually lean more into the storytelling genre and you're not really playing characters and you're not really doing a bunch of physical movement all over the stage, but you're just more standing or sitting and being anecdotal and telling your story, then in that case, I think you want to be as true to yourself as you possibly can be, and also put on your marketing hat in terms of what's your type, how are you selling yourself in this industry. As a performer, are you quirky? Are you funny? Are you sexy? Are you serious? What's your type? How do you want to portray your type in terms of the commercial marketing world? And then just pick wardrobe that really demonstrates who you are from that sales perspective. And of course, that you feel comfortable in and you feel yourself on stage. If you are, again, just being you up there storytelling, then you really just want to be you and be comfortable and be who you are up there. So only you can really determine and know what that is going to be. And now, while we're doing a lot of work that is during the pandemic, depending on when you're watching this video, a lot of solo shows are live streaming. So we also have to add in that extra layer of how are things going to look on camera with stripes and colors and patterns and things like that. So we didn't necessarily have to think about that before when we were just doing live theater in a theater. But if you're in a theater that is also live streaming, you want to think about how's it going to look on camera. And that goes for all of the different examples I'm going to talk about today. Next, I would say if you're doing a solo show where there's a lot of quick dialogue between characters, so you're not just monologuing as one character throughout the whole show, but you're going back and forth, oftentimes rapidly between characters. In that case, you want to pick a really neutral canvas for your wardrobe. So traditionally, a lot of times solo artists like the great Sarah Jones, who I love and admire, traditionally wears black from from head to toe, just black, somewhat form-fitting clothing that is pretty gender neutral and neutral really in every way, so that you just have this blank canvas from which to create your characters. And again, form-fitting so that you see the silhouette of the body, you see the poses that the characters take on, and that the expression of the character is really done through the body, the voice, facial expression, and of course, the way that you're emoting on stage. And it's not really dependent upon the wardrobe. The wardrobe is just there to be as neutral as possible. And also, if you have a neutral palette like that to begin with, black from head to toe, then you can build on that for specific characters if you wanted to. You could don a hat or a vest or a jacket or a bow tie, something super simple to take on and off between characters, but you have this base underneath it all that is quite neutral. So that's a really great way to go as well. And when it comes to what kind of footwear do you wear, in a situation like this, I often encourage people to wear athletic shoes or go barefoot, or even dance shoes. I often would wear black ballet shoes when I would perform in my second solo show, Z, because there was a lot of movement, there was a lot of characters, and I wanted to be soft-footed on the stage. I didn't want loud sounds while I was changing characters or when I was walking around stage. And some of my male performers have worn black sneakers, things like that, just so, again, you can move quite rapidly between characters and there's not a lot of sound happening. And I think if you're doing a show like this where you're playing a bunch of characters, you probably don't want to wear a big skirt or something like that. Or again, if you can put a skirt on top of what you're wearing for a specific character that's more feminine in their expression, then that's fine. But other than that, you really want to keep it, again, gender neutral and just neutral in every other way. Finally, I would use the example of if you have a character-based show where there's space between the characters. They're not dialoguing back and forth. Maybe you're only playing one character. Maybe it's a historical figure or people from your life, but they're monologuing and there's breath. In that case, you might actually be able to step into a full wardrobe as that character, taking into account where are they, what's the time period, what do they like to wear, what is this character, how does this character express themselves in terms of pattern, in terms of texture of fabrics, in terms of jewelry or headgear, glasses, jewelry, all those sorts of things. You can start to take that into account when you have time for those sorts of wardrobe changes, or when you're just going to be in one outfit as one character for the whole show. And if you are changing wardrobe that is more extensive throughout your show, you really want to make sure you've thought that through. How are you going to be doing those wardrobe changes? If they're quick changes, make sure you practice that. The day of the show is not when you want to be finding out that the zipper gets stuck or it's difficult to manage or that the buttons are tricky. You really want to be practicing quick changes. And you also want to be demonstrative if you're changing on stage. I remember in Bridge and Tunnel, one of, I think it was Sarah Jones' first show that she did on Broadway, I remember a jacket coming down, being elevated, and she put her arms in, and it was very demonstrative and very theatrical the way she put the jacket on. Now, I'm not saying you have to have your wardrobe coming down from the rafters for you or anything like that, but you do want to think about how do you make it meaningful when you change wardrobe if you're doing that in front of the audience. If you're not doing it in front of the audience, if you're running off stage, then you want to make sure you're keeping your audience entertained. Don't just leave them there in the silence to look at their programs, or if they're at home watching online. You want to make sure they're entertained. Have a musical interlude, play a video, have picture slideshows going through, something to keep them entertained while you're doing your changeover. So those are some tips in terms of wardrobe for your solo show. So hopefully you identified in one of these categories, but feel free to reach out to me at soringsoloartist@gmail.com if you have more questions. And please feel free to put in the comments your wardrobe choices in your solo show, or what you're thinking about doing for your solo show. And please feel free to visit soaringSoloStudios.com for more information about what I do to direct and develop solo shows. Thank you so much and have a beautiful day.